Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've not posted for a very long time, but life has been extremely busy with various different ventures that I've been doing, and opening a new rehab being one of them, setting up my own business, and also trying to build social media in other areas too. But yes, I'm back and I'm going to try and do videos more often, hopefully once a week. Helping you with various different things within mental health, within addiction, and just how to live a fulfilling, happy, and kind life. So today I'm going to be talking about recovery plans and how to stop drinking and stop taking drugs and promote a new, different lifestyle, and talk about the process that I went through and what I still go through on a day-to-day basis, really. So, yeah, I suppose for me, obviously, I went to rehab, so that was the pivotal point in which my life changed and I started to get clean, but not everybody has to do that. And there are other sort of opportunities for you to go and take, such as 12-step fellowships, to get yourself started on this new journey that you are looking to take. But my experience is, if you want to stop drugs, you really do need to stop drinking too. So the first thing is, accepting you're going to take out every substance from your life and start looking at how you're going to build your life without all those things in it, because it's a very daunting prospect to think I'm going to lose all of that aspect of my life in terms of, the culture, the going out, pub gardens, drinking, and nights out, clubbing, raves, all that kind of stuff. Whatever floats your boat or takes your fancy, whatever your kind of lifestyle is, you're gonna have to remove people, places, and things that include drinking and those substances for a period of time. It doesn't mean to say that you can't go back to it later on, but certainly for an initial long-term period, probably between 6 and 12 months. And the other important thing that we've got to look at is the friendship circles that you keep. So if you've used drugs with anyone, then those people need to be removed from your life unless they're willing to spend time with you, not drinking and not doing drugs. So taking account for the friends that you've got, letting them know that this is the path I want to take now, being open, being honest, communicating, setting boundaries with all those people, saying, please don't invite me to anything that involves drinking or drugs. If you are doing that, I don't want to know. And you'll be very sadly surprised about how very few people still stay in touch with you once you put those boundaries in place. But it's very important that we do that. We have to create a safe environment for us to build strength within. And that safe environment is protected by these boundaries that you'll put in place with certain people and within yourself. So you have to be very boundaried around places that you're going to go. If you are going to pubs or stuff like that, still in the first 6 months, it may be very difficult. So staying away from those areas and places are things that you really need to consider doing. And if it was me, I would 100% not go anywhere that served alcohol for a few months at least. So there's the people, places, and things procedure, so creating this safe environment where you've removed everybody from your life that is damaging and not taking you in the direction you want to go, on the path you want to be on. So this next part is obviously finding people to replace those friends, with more meaningful, more positive relationships that are really going to support and help the lifestyle that you want to move into. And for me, it's about building that community, building your team of people that you reach out to, that you can be honest with, that you can get support from with regards to mental health difficulties that you may be facing, cravings that you may be facing, horrible thoughts, feelings, emotions, anxiety, depression. All of this stuff is perfectly natural to feel, but we need to have someone who understands this from an addiction perspective. So the only place for me to find that is in two places. You can go into social media groups and try and find people through various different avenues online. I'm sure if you Google and search for different groups that you'll find people suffering with addiction that have created communities that you can go and be part of. And the biggest, the most important one is 12-step fellowships for me. That's what's so important about them. For me, two things that will cure you in addiction is a community of people that understand you, and the second is a spiritual awakening. And we'll get on to the spiritual awakening later once we've covered the community. So for me, 12-step fellowship was where I found the part of my community. And by reaching out, going to these meetings consistently, bearing in mind I really did not enjoy them at first. I really disliked the literature, the word God, the prayer at the end. It was all just too much for me to absorb and to accept, because I'd lived my life in such a different way, and I really disagreed with everything that was being said about the program and how it worked. But I was willing, more willing than I'd ever been in my life. I wanted to stop using drugs, and I wanted to stay clean, and I had never achieved that for long periods of time. When I say long periods, I'm meaning 6 months plus. And so I needed help, and there were people in that room who were multiple years clean. They knew something that I didn't, and I went and I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going because they were able to achieve something that I never was able to, and I needed to learn from these people. I needed to be humble. I needed to let go of my attitude and my ignorance and my stubbornness to succeed with this program that was put in front of me that had been successful for so many others. So getting into the program and continuing to go eventually over time and being consistent and making that effort, week in, week out, 3 meetings a week, creating a new meeting as well with some people that I'd connected with in some of the meetings I was going to. We made a new meeting as well, so created this really positive culture. And the most important part of this process and being part of this program was getting a sponsor. So I got a sponsor with the 12-step program that I follow. This person became so instrumental in my life. When I speak about having someone to go to who understands you and speaks to you on a daily basis whenever you need them, that's what your sponsor is. And it's free. This is a free service. And these people are just willing to help. They're just good people. And these are the kinds of people that we want to be surrounding ourselves with, that are going in this direction. Your target's here. We're currently here. People are already up here. What's the best way to get there? Hold hands with someone who's there and get them to help pull you up. And there are people that are so willing to just be there and help you and support you. Then you get group chats. I've created my own group chat full of lads, friends that I had made. We all support each other. We send gratitude lists every single day, where we just list at least 10 things that we're incredibly grateful for. So even when we're having the worst day of our lives, or the most difficult and challenging emotional day that we've ever had, we still do our best to find 10 things that we are still grateful to have. One prominent thing that we're always grateful is to still be clean, and that is something that needs to be acknowledged on a daily basis, despite how bad things get. So yes, this is the community section that we need to look at. The community is so important, because that community gives us a great sense of comfort and security, and generally feels like we're building something new, and letting go of this old less meaningful and more dysfunctional and really not helpful relationships that we have with our using buddies as drug associates, that we do think are friends, but we'll soon find out once you decide to not do drugs how many of them are really your friends and stick around and want to be with you and spend time with you and support you on your journey. But this change is imperative, and it will seem daunting, but the 12-step fellowships makes it a lot easier, a lot more comfortable. So certainly something that we have to do. And the spiritual awakening is kind of the bigger, more overall purpose behind 12-step fellowships, I think, as well, because spiritual awakening is something that is kind of a drastic change of mindset and openness to connecting to the world around us, something outside of our own self-will. Now, I'm an atheist, so I do not believe in a God or any religion at all. I do not believe that there was necessarily a being or superpower that is conscious that created the world as we know it today, and the universe as we understand it. I believe in the more of a scientific route of which the world came to be what it is. But I do believe, however, that there are energies and forces within this world and universe, particularly in the stars, for me, that that I can connect with, that I communicate with, and I speak to, and I connect to daily, particularly nature, you know, the sky and the stars. There is certainly things that we are yet to discover that we do not know about, the way our civilization began and what it became to be. So I'm just giving you a take on what my perspective of a higher power is, and that in doing this you open yourself up to being a little bit more spiritually connected to these energies and forces that are around us. So and also I wanted to make it clear that you don't have to be religious to find a higher power. It took me about a year to start praying and start opening myself up to becoming more spiritual and more open to connecting with a higher power. But now I would not be without it. It is a connection that I make every single day. It is something that I admire and love with a big part of my heart, and it really does fill me with a lot of joy and love and happiness and excitement, I guess, when I'm connecting with it. So yes, that is a very, very important part to recovery, because it allows us to connect with something outside of ourselves and believe that there is something greater, and know that there is something greater than ourselves out there that we can speak to whenever we want. So when this community of ours may sometimes not always be available, a lot of the time they will be, but when they're not, your higher power is with you too. And you can connect to that whenever you like and ask it to guide you and support you. And often for me, I do get guidance and little notes and little indications of and signs of what I should or shouldn't be doing. Some may call this coincidence, and yeah, I would have certainly used to have called everything like that a coincidence, but some things over the last couple of years of being clean and sober for me have been far too much to be just coincidence. So yes, my higher power. And then I look back at my whole life and I see all these different things, you know, the things that have happened to me in my life where I should have died and I haven't, because, you know, this energy has been around me my whole life, little lights of energy trying to keep me alive, because I'm potentially meant for something really important in my life, and I think I am. Not to be entitled or think that I'm something super, but there's something meaningful going on in my life for me, and there is a big purpose that I'm here to fulfill for myself. So feeling like this, thinking like this, allows us to let go of all of this negative energy that we feel towards ourselves, particularly when it comes to the things that we've done throughout our addiction, and how many people we may have hurt, all the things we've done wrong, people we've let down, trauma and pain we've caused others, that we really need to let go of and start to think of ourselves in a new way. Because if we don't, those demons will come back and haunt us. We do have to face those demons and accept them, but we don't have to believe that they are who we are. They don't have to make us what we are today. And I am someone entirely different to what I was when I was within my disease. I'm someone entirely different than I've ever been in my entire life. The 12-step program has massively changed a lot of those things for me. A lot of therapy that I've done has been incredibly helpful too. So that's why I'm going to move on from 12-step fellowship stuff. Obviously, actually not ignoring the 12 steps themselves. There's huge instrumental growth within those steps that you will do that will help you overcome so many demons that you have within your past and your life and things you've done. So getting through that work with your sponsor is going to be so beneficial, and also will create this incredible bond between you and your sponsor too. But getting on to therapy, you know, it's for me, I've done it every week for the last 2 years, and it's been huge for me, understanding myself and investing in myself, understanding my disease. But I don't, you know, my therapy now is not really about my disease. It's I've kind of moved on from the addiction side of my therapy, and now it's more just general therapy for me, day to day, coping with life, coping with relationships and friendships that I find difficult and challenging because of traumatic things that have happened in my life. And we need this support. We have neglected ourselves of emotional growth since the minute we started doing drugs till the minute we've stopped. So there may be a good 10, 15, 20-year gap, but from the age of 15 for me it was until the age of 29, there was a gap of emotional growth. So for me to be in the world and the society and civilization and have relationships and friendships, I was overwhelmed with what that meant and how the emotions and the feelings that are involved in every aspect of human life. So I needed support because I was a 15-year-old a 50-year-old boy in a 29-year-old's body with, you know, all the responsibilities and relationships and friendships that you have at the age of 29. And the 15-year-old inner child of myself was really struggling, and it needed help to speed up growth, to understand why I felt the way I did about certain things, why certain things triggered me, why I reacted to certain things in a negative way when I shouldn't or I didn't want to. Whenever I was doing something that I wasn't proud of or unhappy with, that didn't reflect truly what I felt I was inside, I would question it. I would go to my sponsor with that information and ask questions about it. I would go to my therapist and ask even more detailed questions and get a real understanding of what's underneath little Zach, and finding out, you know, where the problems are, digging for these problems and trying to uncover them, unearth them and nurture them, and, you know, regrow them and plant new seeds for new behaviors to develop, and really get rid of some of those negative core beliefs that I've clearly had for so many years, that have been destructive in my life ever since formulating, you know, as a child. So yeah, these are some of the key pillars, you know, that I've mentioned now. So let's look at the three. You've got the friendship circles, you know, people, places and things. That's very important. Finding a community, whether that be through 12-step fellowships or whatever means necessary. Finding that new community who are also addicts, that do want the same things as you in life, have multiple years clean, that can support you and help you get clean too, and are going in a direction that you want to. So social media is great for that stuff too. So there's lots of places. If you go online and find these places, you will get them. And the other, of course, is therapy. So therapy, very important for me in my recovery, and I think that every person can benefit from it too. And in terms of a day-to-day plan, so, you know, these are the key pillars that I've mentioned. Those three key pillars for me are instrumental, and they need to be done daily, weekly. And at the beginning, I'd say more aggressively with the community stuff, every single day, trying to connect to that community. Therapy, I do once a week. Meetings, I currently do between once and 3 times a week. And this is 2 years in. You know, at the beginning, you should be doing at least 3 to 5 meetings a week, even more. You know, 30 meetings in 30 days or 90 meetings in 90 days, sorry, is the recommendation. So it's really aggressive at the beginning. It's a lot of work. You've got to understand the severity of how serious this is. You know, how serious you have to take recovery, how hard you're going to have to work for quite a long period of time. I'd say very much so in the first 6 months. You have to work extremely hard, give up majority of all of the things and luxuries in your life that you thought were luxuries, such as going out and drinking and drugs and everything else that goes with that lifestyle. You have to give all of that up and replace it with this new life that you don't quite understand, and that can really be confusing and scary. But you have to be consistent, and you have to give it time. You have to keep going and keep practicing and working really hard. And over, you know, the months that then turn into years, you will find your life change dramatically. You as a person changes dramatically. The way you treat people, the way you speak to people, the way you care for other people, your ability to be vulnerable, your ability to be honest and communicate and help others too, and I'll get onto that as the last part of, when you get into recovery, you'll get to a place where you're able to help people, which is what I am doing with everything in my social media. I'm a sponsor myself to two very beautiful young lads that I help daily, and one of them's over a year clean, the other one I just took on is now over 3 months clean, and I'm that person for them that was given to me by my sponsor, and it goes on and on and on, and they'll be sponsors themselves too. So yeah, it's a beautiful experience, but the rewards that you will get are unbelievable. The experience itself, as much as it's beautiful, it is also painful. It will be hard. It will test you. It will pull you left, right, up, down. One day you're on the floor, the next day you're feeling great. Your emotions will be all over the place, and that's to be expected. It's okay to feel that way, but the most important thing is that you've got somebody alongside you within these 12-step fellowships, for me, that understands all of this and that you can communicate this to on a daily basis, and they're going to help. So that's a quick insight to my recovery plan that worked for me. I hope this has been helpful to you, and that may support you in your recovery and give you some ideas about what you need to do to stay clean and sober. I'm over 2 years now, 2 years and just over a week, so I feel what I'm doing is working, and there is some evidence and to support that now, at least. So I think it's good I do the videos after being 2 years clean. I will continue to do videos. The next one, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do on yet, but stay tuned, and I'm sure you'll see it coming out soon. Thanks.